Communities across our area are mourning the loss of Pastor DaQuarius Green. Though the shooting happened in Level Plains, Green was widely known in Montgomery for his ministry and outreach. WSFA 12 News reporter Jessica Knox spoke with a friend remembering the man he knew.
I was very hurt. Of course, I was devastated because I was like, I couldn't believe this happened to him. And of course, then to find out how it happened and who did it, that was even more devastating.
Minister Devontae Palmer is one of many now grieving the loss of Pastor DaQuarius Green. Palmer says the two were not close friends, but their paths crossed often at church and even checking up with him at Green's previous job at Walmart.
So from time to time, after I get done with there, I just go to see him and just chat it up, and then for like 5-10 minutes and go by my way because if he working, I can't talk all day.
Palmer says those conversations were brief but meaningful. To Palmer, Green was known for humility and faith.
To me, the man was a humble man, an honest man. He was a man who deeply loved God, his family, and one who just wanted to do the right thing.
One moment stands out the most.
Got me when he came to the church. You know, I had no idea he was coming. He actually surprised me. He tapped on my shoulder and said, "Brother Palmer," oh, snap. I had no idea he was coming that day.
Green died just days after being shot in what police called a domestic incident. Those who knew him say they remember a man committed to faith, family, and service.
Again, you know, that wasn't the guy that I knew. You know what I'm saying? Again, like I was telling somebody today, you know, I can only go for what I knew. Pastor Green, he was human, right? He was a man of God. He was a father. He was a husband, hard worker. He did not deserve to die.
Authorities say no charges have been filed at this time. However, the investigation is still ongoing. In Montgomery, I'm Jessica Knox, WSFA 12 News.
Notice how they didn't mention his wife is the person who shot him, the person who killed him. Was his estranged wife. Getting married nowadays is probably one of the biggest unnecessary risks that a man can take. And the reason I say it's unnecessary is because we're not in our parents' and grandparents' generation anymore. The entire concept of signing a bad contract for the sole purpose of benefiting women, it doesn't necessarily make sense for men. And a lot of men are opting out of it, and we're still alive. So it's not necessary for your survival. Once upon a time, you needed a woman. She was going to be at home. She was happy to be at home. She was happy to bear children. She was happy to do wifely duties. We're long past those days. These women do not love you the way you love them. They see us as walking ATM machines or workhorses. And if you look at Steph Curry's wife, a lot of our wives resent us and want to be us because they see us as their equals. But how is that going to work? There can only be one king. We can't be co-kings. One has to be the king, one has to be the queen. But if she's not going to fall in line with you, or if she thinks she's better than you, well, then you have to worry about her setting you up. And let me tell you what's the easiest murder in the country to get away with. Don't believe me? Just ask Erica Kirk. If it's your wife killing her husband, number one thing you can get away with, because all you have to do is two things. All you have to do is claim abuse and cry. If the woman cries and say that her husband was abusing her, the entire sisterhood of women, no matter what racial background, age, if they're in the United States, every single woman is going to rally behind her, call her a victim, even when she's a cold-blooded murderer. Even if they find out that her and her new boyfriend just got a $5 million insurance payout, they're going to say, yeah, they did get a payout. But what if, right, he was beating her and raping her every day? That's what she said. Shouldn't we just believe all women? And what does that mean about the victim? The man, the workhorse. Maybe she found out he was going to divorce her. Maybe he found out about her new boyfriend and was like, you know what? I'm just coming home right now to grab my things. I'm going to go stay at a hotel. I'm going to file for divorce. And if he can prove infidelity, well, then he doesn't have to pay her. It's go time for some of these women in that situation. You know what they'll do? They'll start crying. They'll dial 911, and then they'll pull the trigger on an innocent man just because they still want access to money and resources from him, but just not have to be under him. Why do you think these women come out with all these outlandish claims about men abusing them who are celebrities, athletes, bankers, business people? The man wants nothing to do with you. He never married you. So you don't have a tether to him through alimony. He never got you pregnant. So you can't tether him through children and child support. Your last resort is to accuse him of abuse. But if you're going to go that far and it's only you two around, you could get rid of the witness and then you could cry and claim abuse. And it's very rare that the courts are going to side against a woman in a case like this, especially if there's no surveillance and there's no witnesses. This is an extremely dangerous time to want to get married. To get married is probably one of the most traditional things a man can do. The women of 2025 and 2026, these are the most untraditional women in human history here in the United States. Why are you trying to force tradition on someone who's not traditional? The only traditional things about her is men should pay for everything. That's it. There's nothing on her end that is traditional. They give you lip service, and a lot of us, we do the marriage relationship thing just because our families did it, and we're like, well, what are we supposed to do next? The concept of just focusing on yourself, staying alive and working is lost upon us because we want children, we want our children to have families, but at what risk? What if she decides to kill you and cry?
DaQuarius Green served Elba Zion Missionary Baptist Church as its senior pastor. Hurt on December 23rd, Green, who had a history of domestic violence arrests, died Saturday. He was shot by a woman with whom he had a romantic relationship with and shared at least one child. Houston County Court information also reveals that 3 domestic violence charges Green faced last year were dismissed because the alleged victim refused to testify against him. The separate protection order filing alleged that Green struck a woman when she was pregnant. Records don't reveal if all of those charges involve the same alleged victim. It's also important to note that the court records do not indicate that the alleged victim in those cases is the same person who shot Green in Green's shooting. No charges have been filed, likely indicating authorities believe it could have been in self-defense. Typically, findings from these types of cases are turned over to the district attorney, who decides whether to present those findings to a grand jury. Facebook posters differed in their take regarding the case, some criticizing Elba Zion Missionary Baptist Church for employing a person with a history of domestic violence arrests. However, other posters paint a different picture of the man they knew, praising his spiritual leadership and calling him a beloved man of God.
You know, people will plan your execution in advance, right? They'll make up stories and they'll say, they'll call the police and you'll be like, what are you talking about? And they'll just want to have it on record that the police had to come out because of a domestic violence dispute where you were claiming that he attacked you. They just want to have it on record because in the future, it'll play into their defense. And hopefully if they decide to kill you, well, there won't be any charges filed because, well, the fact that you have a record of calling the police and making claims about violence from this person, your husband, well, if something happens in the future, the waters are so muddy, it's going to automatically seem like it was self-defense, even if the man didn't touch you. A lot of men have lost their homes, their children, everything because of false allegations. I had an ex-girlfriend who she couldn't even live with herself as an adult because her mother asked her to lie to the police about her father hitting her when she was like a teenager, and she did. And the police put her father out of his own home. And her father never actually financially recovered and slipped into depression and drug use. And she blames herself for what happened to her father because she was kind of like, it was the mother's word versus the father's word. And the mother told her what to say, and she said it. And she always regretted it. So you got to keep in mind that, you're in love. She's in business. She will out strategize you, because that's what you have to do. If you have an opponent that's larger than you, stronger than you, and you have to fight this person, hand-to-hand brute force isn't going to work. You're going to have to outsmart them. You're going to have to use other tactics. So strategically, people will literally plan your execution a year or 2 years in advance. And now there's not even any charges being filed. There won't be an investigation because she's already on record. They're giving you the playbook. Also, think about it. Your district attorney is probably going to be a woman, probably a black woman, especially in this part of the country, because all the black men are either gay or in jail. So it's all ran in the South or in the Midwest too. Every business you go into, it's a black woman running it if there's somebody black there. If you go into the court, the judges, the prosecutors, district attorneys, everyone's in charge. It's all going to be a bunch of black women, single. They don't believe in husbands. It's not a family thing. So you're not going to be prosecuted for executing a man, especially if you claim abuse. And you don't have to even have proof of an abuse. You just have to say it. That's why I said this is an unnecessary risk that you're taking every time you even decide to let a woman live with you. It's just a risk nowadays, and it's unnecessary.
In the newsroom, Jacqueline Lambert, your hometown news leader.
Jacqueline, thanks for that report.
Amen. Amen. And before my husband, since we got here, y'all have really made us feel like we were. Amen. Too much. Can my children please come up and sit over here? Amen. I believe in my children. Amen. Amen.
That's not even called for. It's praying time. You got to put yourself in other people's shoes. It just seems like you just had something really against my niece. It's praying time because there's kids involved.
They don't care about the kids. You got to understand who we're talking about here. These are, unfortunately, this is an American thing. These are black women. There are no more black men. He's one of, out of 1,000 people in his church, 50 are married. No one else has a man. So these women being single, everyone around this married woman wants her to be single also. They don't like seeing a woman doing better than them, or they don't want to see a woman with a husband. They want the man out of the way. They're going to side with the woman 100% of the time, and they're never even going to contemplate the fact that she cold-blooded killed this man. When they talk about these situations, it was never like a fight or flight where he cornered her. The man is sometimes in the room asleep, and the woman will walk in there with the gun and just shoot him. And then she'll claim abuse, but he wasn't hitting you actively. You guys weren't fighting or anything. You just took your shot when he was defenseless. Again, it's an unnecessary risk. We are no longer in those, we're not in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s anymore. The laws have completely changed. Family is not really a thing here in the United States anymore. It's a racket for women. It's not in favor of men. It's not even in your best interest. It's dangerous because you never know what she's going to say, and you never know what she's going to do. And she can never do any wrong in the eyes of these women and these people. They'll never turn on her no matter what she does. So even in the court of public opinion, you're already convicted. And when you show up to the actual court, you're pretty much toast. There is no, if you make it to court, a lot of these times, a lot of these men, they are executed in their homes. Even when they have children at home, the women don't care. Now they say, oh yeah, but men do that to women. That's propaganda. That's not the odds. The numbers are a lot higher in the women nowadays are executing their husbands, and they're being paid to do so because they feel like they're losing a hold of the man. Maybe he met someone else, or maybe he just found out about something you were doing. But that's why this case right here, it's a very common case. There's a couple of twists and turns, But there's not going to be anything new under the sun. There's only a couple of ways this could go. There's only a few things that could have happened that could have led to this, and we can pretty much guess. But let's finish going through this video because they're going to talk about a couple of twists.
On both sides, and both families are hurting at the same time. It's a bad situation, but people got to understand. Nobody know what goes behind closed doors. And
if that's the case, then why are you believing your niece? If nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors, then why are you just taking your niece's word for it when you admittedly don't know what went on behind their closed doors? What if your niece was a liar? What, women, you've never met a woman that lies? Women don't lie? I doubt that.
Nobody know what people go through. You got to put yourself in other people's shoes and see how they feel. Being abused and mistreated, all of that is wrong at the same time. You know?
Yeah, if the treatment's that bad, leave. You don't have to kill him. You can leave. If he's not threatening your life, if he's not trying to hurt you or do something to you, why don't you leave? You know, you see this played out with Carmelo Anthony. I watched body cam footage every single day, thousands of hours, and I do videos on it. These women won't leave. Restaurants ask you to leave. Stores ask you to leave. Men ask you to leave. Iman Shumpert just had to call the police because he asked a woman to leave his house and she refused to leave. And what if she would have had a weapon, shot Iman, and then claimed that he was trying to abuse her or rape her? I had a girl get arrested at my house because she made that accusation against me when she broke into my house one morning after she had called me and I had ghosted her for a while, popped up at my house. And she admitted to the police that she was looking for my gun. Couldn't find it. She thought she knew where I hid it, but I had it on me in the car. I didn't have it at my house, but she thought she knew where I hid it. And would have made the same, she attacked me at my house and tried to tell the police that I was beating her, raping her, all kinds of crazy shit. Luckily, I had the video. You know, I keep a camera, I record everything. And they arrested her and she was taken to jail. But had I not had a camera, and what if I hadn't taken my gun that day, then she could have literally killed me and cried and claimed to be a victim. And everybody in her family would have been doing the same thing this piece of shit lady's Anna's doing in this video.
So it's really sad. And when I had found out, I was so hurt going down the road. Because, you know, sometimes you think you have people that you can talk to, but you really don't. That's why I say everybody that smiles in your face is not your friend. And all at the same time, don't nobody know what nobody goes through in life. Even on these jobs, when you get mistreated and when you doing wrong and people just look at you like you're crazy. And
you know, nowadays, women they'll convince themselves and convince others that a man getting sick of them and not wanting to tolerate them in their bullshit anymore is them being mistreated or being treated wrong. They'll convince themselves that being rejected is being mistreated when that's not the case. There are certain things about you that if they change, then it's gonna make our agreement between each other to be together, it's gonna make that null and void. Certain things we're just not going to tolerate because as men, we have to have foresight. We have to say, okay, this situation is only going to get worse, not going to get better. Sometimes we might not figure that out until after we marry you because your behavior changes, because your priorities change. You got what you wanted. You got a husband. You got someone that you can sue in a divorce. And you got some stability. You got some financial security now, depending on what he does for work. But that right there is, that's actually motive also. And that's why they get away with this.
you're trying to defend your own self. Because I know what I have to deal with and what I have to go through It's my word against their word on my job. But sometimes people, you just have to make peace everywhere you go. I just had to throw that out there and put that because I know my niece, she wouldn't hurt nobody. She loved kids and loved everybody else. And for everybody calling her all these kind of names, be careful how you put your mouth on people. Because one thing about me, her auntie know how to pray and God showed me stuff. So you got to be very careful how you put your mouth on folks. It's just like you had something, everything was talking about my niece, You should be just praying for both sides of the family, Tracy, because it's really sad. It's a sad time. It's praying time. And people don't understand that. If you ain't got it in your heart right here, but you want to bash my nephews, them, and talk about them innocent kids. Them are innocent kids. And you put your mouth on them. I hope the hell you ain't got no kids. But it's sad. But for my niece, Quinteria, I love you. And I always been there for my niece ever since she was a little baby. And like I said, I'm praying for both sides of the family. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and you don't know what the situation is, Miss Brown. But I'm not here to argue with nobody. But should nobody be trying to bash nobody and call nobody out? It's praying time, okay?
Praying time, your fucking niece just killed a man in cold blood. And you talking about praying? This was a pastor. Killed him in cold blood. And I wonder what kind of benefits she's going to get from his death. Is there an insurance policy? The thing is, I wonder what type of investigations even going to go into this. They're still refusing to even file charges against her because it will be so unpopular to say, oh, because they already know what's going to happen. They already know the district attorney and the prosecutor's office are going to decline to charge her because they're going to say, well, there was already a history of domestic violence. Even though the charges were dropped and there was no evidence in the first place, there was still a call on record. Like, that's what I mean. Like, they literally can schedule your death in advance and get away with it. As a man, you're literally putting yourself at risk. Other countries, they can't do that. They killed a man, they don't automatically get access to all of his stuff and they sue him and take his property. Here in the United States, we're done. And now the culture is to hate men, use a husband like a tool to come up in life, but you never love them. You don't have any feelings for them. There's no loyalty or devotion. It's all just a big scam, and the man is always the sucker in the middle. And she's talking about prayer. Get the hell out of here. Kill this guy.
And I know God could be a healer, not just financially. When you're all alone, the Holy Ghost will ease off in your room. He's right there with you. The gospel of Jesus Christ being rejected, but I can hear what Jesus said that the chief cornerstone is rejected have now become the chief cornerstone.
You know, I watch a video like this. If you think about it, he's a man and all the attention is on him. All the attention is on him. You know, that's something, women they didn't mind being in the background, being your backbone, being your rib, being your support structure. Now women want to be your equal. They want to be in the forefront. They become jealous and envious of all your light. The fact that you're the center of attention, that everyone wants to talk to you. I never heard of Erica Kirk until the day Charlie was killed. It's not like there's something new happening when there's nothing new under the sun. His wife, or his estranged wife, if she had an order of protection against him, why did she have to go to his home to kill him? He's trying to get away from her. But for a lot of men, we don't want to admit that we're afraid of our women. We don't want to admit that we're running from them, because it just makes you seem like you're weak, like you're scared, and you want to keep up a certain image. You don't want to talk bad about your woman, because that's also a lose-lose as well. In the petition that she filed, she claimed he struggled with jealousy and insecurity. She accused him of causing physical harm on several occasions, including moments when she was pregnant. I've been real quiet because of what's going on. It's none of y'all business. It's everybody's business. It's public. Of course, you're going to stand with her, no matter if she's wrong or right. You're going to stand with a killer because she's a woman and because you're sisterhood. You guys are working together against men. That's why a lot of these women are single, because, well, men have learned to just avoid them altogether. But every so often, a sucker is born. And he grows up and he marries one of them. And unfortunately, he pays the ultimate price. Any high-end man, any high-profile man runs this risk every day. Either he's going to be accused of abuse, or she'll kill him and then accuse him of abuse and get away with it. It's going to go one of two ways. It just doesn't pay as good to be a loyal wife in the eyes of social media. And social media, unfortunately, controls the mind of women. You know, naturally women are followers, but they don't have men or husbands they can follow anymore. They're following internet trends. This is one of them. People are defending her, haven't even spoke to her. Now, I'm going off of pattern recognition. I've seen this kind of story play out many times. There's always some man like this who gets a lot of attention, and the wife wants to be you. Again, a great example is Steph Curry and Ayesha Curry. If you saw Ayesha Curry kill Steph Curry one day and blame it on abuse, you wouldn't believe her, but she wouldn't go to jail. She wouldn't be prosecuted. No matter what, she wouldn't be. Keep that in mind. If you found out that there were no cameras in the house and Steph and Ayesha Curry were in the room and she said, he beat me, he was pushing me, he tried to take it, everybody's going to say bullshit. But the police in that county will not arrest her. They're not going to prosecute her. They'll throw the case out because she can just claim abuse. These women want to dim your light. So that's why when people make fun of Nick Fuentes for never being with a woman, but he's focused. This is a huge distraction, and it's really a risk to your life when you feed into this distraction. Less women might extend your lifespan. Well, for him, it definitely would have. It's just a shame that she's going to get away with murder. And she's not the last one. There will be more copycats who are going to learn that all you have to do is cry and kill, and you can get away with anything you want in this country. If you're a woman, of course. Like and subscribe, share the video. The sisterhood got this one. There was a sucker born every day, and unfortunately, but you know, he did the right thing. He tried to get away from her. He left her, moved. She still came to him and killed him. There's no video evidence, there's no proof, so she can just claim something and no proof either way. And she'll get away with it. It's a damn shame. Like and subscribe, share the video. America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.